Hi guys, it's Eric the Desolate Fool here. One thing. So, like, the original theme of this was that I have, like, a set amount of things to talk about, and, like, I know what I'm going to talk about. No. How about no? Actually, this is on my terms, so you're going to listen to me talk about what I want to talk about. And if you don't want to, that's fine too. Okay. So, I do have the things I have to talk about. I do want to talk about conveniently. So, larks are one of my favorite symbols right now because it's a bird and it represents freedom and hope and peace and sort of new beginnings. Yeah, you probably can't read that. That's okay. That's okay though. So, larks are beautifully put into the visual by the painter Jules Brenton in his painting Song of the Lark or Call of the Lark. I don't know. And, we see this peasant girl in rural France, and she's tending the fields at dawn, and we see the sun rising behind her, and we see her barefoot, mind you, looking off into the distance. And you see on her face that she's just like thinking to herself, like, I can do more than this. Like, this doesn't have to be it, you know? Like, she could improve, basically. She hears the larks singing in the background, their morning song, and she's like, she feels free, I think. That's how I interpret it. And then, so we have Maya Angelou's poem, Caged Bird, which I think which really makes me think of, I'm gonna cut that. I'm gonna edit this part out. Blah, 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 blah. Which really makes me think of, larks, because it talks about how caged bird, the free bird, leaps on the wind and soars with its outstretched wings, and it dares to claim the sky. But the caged bird stalks down its narrow cage and sees a fearful trail. And what could the caged bird be if the lark is the free bird? I think a good symbol for the caged bird is a jester, because they're very tormented. They're, the king doesn't kill the jester. The jester's allowed to mess with the king, but it doesn't take the jester seriously. And when we think about, like, how in the 50s and before, probably 70s before, like, little boys, little girls would have their caged birds, especially little boys. And, do they want to kill their bird? Probably not, but they're not going to treat it good, and they're not going to listen to it. They think it's a gimmick, it's a novelty that it can speak to it. And you don't think it's capable of any thought beyond just crazy musings, kind of like a jester. So, yeah. And so what else do I like? I like, James Baldwin. He's an author. He was a gay black author in the civil rights movement till 87 when he died of stomach cancer because he was a lifelong smoker. I don't know if they're correlated. They probably are. That probably is. So my favorite book by him, the only book I've read by him actually, because I don't read a lot. My Goodreads says I've read 7 books in my life, so I believe it, honestly. I can't name 10 books. I can't. So, but Giovanni's room. We have our main character, which is David. David is from America, but right now he's living in Paris. And he frequents the gay bars. Well, he has a girlfriend named Hella, and she's in Spain, and he's in Paris by himself, and they're engaged, but they're going to get married when she gets back. But this boy's gay. He's gay. gay. And, so like I was saying, he's gay. And so he's living in Paris in this small room, and he's frequenting all these gay bars, and I can't remember if he's doing it with a lot of guys, but he meets this bartender, Italian bartender, named Giovanni. Now Giovanni's gay as well. Implied, Giovanni's room, it's a boy. Don't know what else this could be about. And him and Giovanni are chopping it up on the regular. And eventually, he moves into Giovanni's room. None of them have jobs, I'm pretty sure, besides, like, Giovanni. Giovanni's seeing this old dude who's a freak. And, just need that money. Need that moolah. Who says moolah these days? Lock in! Lock in! Lock in. He needs money. So he's with this old guy also. And nobody really cares. But, I mean, it's making Giovanni go crazy. So, if you're gonna read this, skip this part? I don't know. I'll give you, like... Okay. So, by the end of the book, Giovanni's this guy, because this guy's a freaking abusive, and Giovanni's, he's gonna be himself. So the whole timeline of this is recounting the events leading up to Giovanni's execution by David. And, towards the last couple chapters, or last couple of paragraphs, you really like, save him, save Giovanni, bro, save him. Do you think Giovanni's saved? Do you think we get a happy ending? So then Hela comes back, and do you think David's taking this well? Do you think he decides to get married to Hela? I'll leave you with that. Okay. If you wanted to skip the spoilers, welcome back. Really, I don't know I don't know it. You know what this whole thing is? I really don't know anything. What if a face just appears? That would be scary. Oh, I can tell Giovanni's room is kind of based off of James Baldwin's life, because in 1948, James Baldwin realized that America was no place for a gay black man, so he moved to Paris. Which, think about that. Think about how many black people were probably in Paris compared to, like, Harlem, where, James Baldwin was growing up, and he still decided it was better to move to Paris. That's just, like, puts to, like, light how terrible it was to be gay and black in the U.S. at any time, honestly. But especially back then. And, okay. This is gonna be like 25 minutes of usable footage. Intermission time, I'm taking a break. Because I have to go to the bathroom, and also, I have to go to the bathroom, and, because I wrote a speech for DFCA, Drug Free Clubs of America, And I need to practice it once more because I'm giving it tomorrow. I'm going to post this after I give it, so as to not spoil the speech for anybody who's on the edge of their seats for my speech. In a manner of speaking. In a manner of speaking, a lot of people probably wouldn't use. Guys, it's really quite dreadful out here. It's scary. I fear. Well, I'm going to read you my speech for DFCA because content, I guess. So, and also it's good to get this out there. This is like revision 1, so it's changed since then, and I'll try and change what I remember I changed. You know what I mean? Hello, I'm Austin Lilly, and I'm a senior at UniOto. I haven't seen the ravages of the drug epidemic in my community. I haven't seen the effects of addiction in my own home. Rather, it is the lack of what I've seen. I haven't seen my paternal grandfather, and he never got to see me. He drank himself to death 3 months before I was born. Addiction runs deep in my family, but I know its detrimental legacy will be broken by me and my younger relatives because we've seen the struggle of those before us. To break a cycle in a family is one facet. To break a cycle in a community is a facet of breaking. To break a cycle in a family, since you want to speak on people's families, we'll all join in. We'll all play the reindeer games. Anyways. To break a cycle in one's family is a facet of breaking cycles in community. We as students can break this community cycle of addiction. Look around you and count how many people you see at a glance. We all have a voice, and while addiction is gripping and horrifying, the passion and love that we hold in our hearts for change is something it can't break. As the youth, as students, we have time to change things for the better. And it may be an upward battle, but it's a battle worth fighting. To stop addiction starts now. As noted by the National Institute on Drug Abuse, research-based programs can prevent drug addiction in youth, as when young people perceive drug consumption as harmful, they often reduce their levels of use. The article also states that these programs can return upwards of $65 per dollar invested, making this a practical investment into our future. In my experience, the conversation on drug abuse dies down as education goes on. It's a semi-important topic at the beginning, and then it diffuses into an irrelevance. And the students lost to addiction are often seen as too far gone. This, however, is not the case, and the silence is dangerous. I ask if we really believe the occasional threat of a drug test will prevent abuse. This is why furthering the actions of organizations such as DFCA into sort of making rehabilitation known is important. It's scary out here, y'all. It's scary bad, too. Is important. As noted by the Nation's Center for Drug Abuse Statistics, 8.73% of Ohio teenagers are more likely to have used drugs in the past month than the average American teen. The only way to spark the will to quit is to present both young and old users with real resources and real solutions, and to make these known publicly, so there is no fear of judgment, but rather a recognition of compassion. What can we do? We are immobilized. We have numbers. Think back to when you looked around you. When we get together like this, we show that we care. That this is a pressing issue for the next generation of voters. That this is an issue that our elected officials must address. And that this is such. For our officials to act, we must act. We must petition. We must contact our representatives. We must enact change in our community in other ways, because if people see us caring about the issues they care about, such as poverty, homelessness, and safety, these issues which often coincide with drug abuse, they will be inclined to help us in ours. James Baldwin writes in as much as truth as one can bear, not everything that is faced can be changed, but nothing can be changed until it is faced. I call us, the people, and the government to face the threat of opioid abuse, the adolescent misuse of alcohol, and the horrifying threat of fentanyl, and to the best of our ability stay aware of the danger of drug abuse, and to in every capacity make others aware of addiction and methods to get past it. I call us all to support and uphold citizens' rehabilitation. I call our representatives to enact a means to remove accessibility to widespread fentanyl and to punish distributors rather than consumers. But lastly, I call us all to remain open and loving, and to not disregard anyone as a second-class citizen. For the playwright Terence, and later Maya Angelou, beautifully spoke, I am human, therefore nothing human is alien to me. Remember, addiction is human as it is experienced by humans. It is normal to look for a means of release, but do not believe that these harmful methods are the best or only option. Let's celebrate our freedom from ignorance towards abuse and addiction, and most of all, let's carry our compassion towards one another from here on out. Thank you. I like it. I changed some things, so tomorrow when I give the speech, it's going to be different. But I like it, for the most part. It took me like a day to write it, so. We're going to have a show and tell moment. What should I name her? I made her. What should I name her? Whoa. She's missing a leg, too. You know, I was on the phone earlier, and my friend asked me if I think that I have obsessive personality disorder, and that really killed me. Because, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know anything, really. Ew, my second chin just shut. I don't know. I'm gonna have to cut that out, actually. There was a loud fucking noise, you guys. I'm going inside. I can't do this. It's scary out here. It's scary as hell, actually. I don't even care if it's loud. Like, I don't even care. I don't even care. You guys, actually, I'm not staying out here. It's creepy out here. I should have recorded while it was light out, actually. It's scary as hell. And there's probably better lighting in my head. Can you conceptually fathom me opening the door, walking in, and sitting down as if we were meeting here? I mean, the absurdity of it, actually. Funny seeing you here. Okay, I'm back. It was scary out there. It was really scary out there. So, you know what? There's better lighting in here, so I suppose I'll do a show and tell. How I do my 5 favorite things so far. Like, 5 current favorite things. I really like clay. I really like clay. I don't know what I'm making, but I like it. And I really like this camera specifically, which I broke as soon as I got it. And whatever this thing is, and this mug, which Iris got for me, my friend, my bestie. And also this. Yeah, that's enough of that. That's enough. It's grimy. What else do I like? Oh, I have an idea. How about we open up my Why Catholicism Should Be Back in the Government book, and we read a passage. Okay, I'm back. Whole lot for really saying nothing, actually. Never mind. It's hot in my house, too, and I'm sorry, you guys. But you know what I've come to the conclusion of? I mean, the first episode of anything will never be the best episode unless it's, like, a really good show. But like, even the pilot episode of anything is really the best episode of that thing. And because, like, why would it be? So, no matter how hard I try, this episode wouldn't be the best it could be. You know what I mean? In a way. I don't know. What else is there to speak on? We can speak more on Giovanni's room. No, it's hot in this house too. Keep my painting back there. I didn't make it. I don't know why I called it my painting. Everybody was like, the podcast better live up to the hype, but conceptually, talking to a camera is so hard. There's nobody here. And I need a reaction. I need laughter. I need something to speak back to me, something to look at me. I mean, just make a weird face at me. I'd like the camera to make a weird face at me at least. That's like common decency, but no. I got yelled at yesterday about common decency because I opened the umbrella in front of somebody. It was in front of the public too. It was really scary. I felt bad that I opened the umbrella in front of him, but like, I might cut that out. I don't know. A lot's going to be cut out. I had so many notes. I'm right in front of my computer right now. I could search up my notes. I might do that. Well, this statue that was my dead neighbor's, I painted it. It was white and cigarette stained originally, and then I painted it like the colors of the French Revolution. Like I had her like French flag and then whatnot. And then I painted it like Grimace. And then I painted it for Brat Summer. And she needs to be repainted. Still kind of smells like cigarettes. I'm not... And that's 3 things I like in my room. Well, glad you like my show and tell. Okay, we're going to talk about this film I watched recently. Well, I rewatched recently. I watched it a while ago. It's The Examined Life by Asher Taylor. So it starts with Cornel West, influential philosopher, stating, quoting Plato, "The unexamined life is not worth living." Then he goes on to ask us, how do you examine yourself? How do you interrogate yourself? He states that philosophy is about our finite situation, and that can be determined as beings towards death. Dogmatism, which is various attempts to hold on to certainty with dialogue in the face of dogmatism. And then democracy, which is the attempt of the people to render elites accountable. Philosophy becomes a critical disposition to wrestle with the face of all these methods of power and control. Asher Taylor speaks on the challenges of making a film about philosophy. Book form gives you as long as necessary, but a feature film gives you 80 minutes. Oviedo Ronald reminds us that Heidegger believed philosophy was too institutionalized, and that he believed in thinking, how to think. He had a lot to say about walks and going on paths that lead nowhere. This is examining life. We are on a path. Asher Taylor asks if philosophy is a search for meaning, and Evita Ronell states that she's suspicious of the search for meaning, as it's very hard to keep things in an intentional structure of openness of non-meaning. To admit we haven't really understood is much less satisfying, but it's necessary. We get a shot of Evita's feet as she walks. This is representative of the whole theme of going on paths that lead nowhere. Evita Ronell speaks on that the most responsible person is one who thinks they've never been responsible enough in taking care of the other. We are then introduced to the philosopher Peter Singer, who comments on the ethical issue of buying luxury goods while people starve, and that there's an ethical question to be asked on what we should be spending our money on. He talks about famine, affluence, and morality. That's his famous article or piece, in which he imagines you're walking by a shallow pond in which a child is drowning. You aren't in danger of drowning, but you're wearing a really nice pair of shoes that may get ruined if you save the child. Most say, forget about the child. I'll go in, I'll save it. But for the price of the shoes, you could donate the money and it could save one or more children. In ethics, one of the greatest choices is how we spend our money. He states that we make our lives more meaningful by connecting to important causes, as because we've made the world a better place by reducing the amount of unnecessary suffering in the world. I mean, genius. I don't have much to add. I think that speaks for itself. I think I personally could do better to make the world a better place. But, tons of time. No, there's not. Okay. Kwame Anthony Appiah talks about the responsibility of citizens of a country towards other citizens of the world. Cosmopolitanism means needing an ocean of global citizenship. The cosmopolitan begins by recognizing that we're responsible individually for the world. Secondly, they recognize that it's okay to be different. The cosmopolitan says that we can love one another, but not wish for them to be like us. If you think everyone is entitled to be different, it can create a culture of relativism where one may say whatever the other wants to do is fine. And who are we to make judgment? Kwame believes that it's very important in the global conversation of human beings to exchange ideas about what's right and wrong, and it's perfectly appropriate to do so. The cosmopolitan says that two ways of doing something can coexist as long as they both do what they're supposed to do properly. Our responsibilities are beyond the people we can just interact with and see. You can't retreat to a tiny group and live life within that. That's not morally permissible. But you can't just abandon your community, as that gives you your humanity. Martha Nussbaum speaks on Aristotle's foundation of a theory of justice, that it's the job of a political arrangement to provide everyone with what they need to be capable. Of course, he didn't include all people. Inspired by the background of feudalism, where all opportunities were distributed unequally, and it says to strip all people of their feudal advantages and to imagine what they would do, she created a social contract theory, or somebody did. I don't know. These notes were made fast. The social contract position has influence in all spheres. We hear things about how many don't pay their own way, and supporting some would be a drag on our economy. The idea that good members of society are people who produce lies behind the skepticism of welfare being beneficial. We see it in images of real men who are people who need no one and aren't bound to anything, and they choose their social arrangements. Justice needs no fix until you think about people with serious physical and mental disabilities. How do you think about justice when you're dealing with bodies and minds that are unequal? How do you design cities that are open to them? To consider this, we must hold high the development of bodily health, integrity, the development of senses, the development of practical reason, etc., etc. Okay, I'm not going to go into everybody's philosophy because that would take away the need for you to watch Examine Live, which I think you should do. But I would like to draw attention that our conversations with these people so far have all been while they're traveling. Cornel West is talking while in a taxi. Avital is walking in Central Park. Anthony is at an airport, and Martha is walking on the coast of Lake Michigan. This all ties into the idea that we have to walk on paths that lead nowhere. And we don't know the destination of our speakers. They are examining life while traveling. Asher Taylor is such a good documentarian. I mean, she's beautiful. She just creates beautiful art, in my opinion. So, I like to go back on Cornel West's point about dogmatism and how to get past it. In an article by Medium, Gustavo Rossetti writes that the illusion of being objective is that when you believe you possess truth, your subjective beliefs blind you from seeing others' opinions. Is objectivity possible, or is it a social fabrication? A general method to get past dogmatism is that one must focus on commonalities, to find a ground and move forward as these differences matter less in light of common goals and values. Another method to break from dogmatism is to expand one's circle, utilizing the Aunt Judy effect. We can shed our prejudice by drawing comparisons from people we consider good and close to us to those that we consider our opposition. Some people that we consider good people hold the same beliefs as those we consider bad people. The first step to getting past our opponents is to understand where they're coming from and to see the reason in their argument. I mean, the concept of dogmatism, which is that the truth, what you believe is the sole truth, and there's nothing that can go against that, and your mind can't be changed. It's so fascinating, and it's like, as Cornel West mentioned, truly one of the central powers that keep us down is that people tell us what can only be the truth, and we aren't allowed to question it. I mean, or because they won't change. Okay. We could talk a little bit more about Giovanni's room, but I'm going to clip this to, where I opened up about it in the car, which is probably going to be weird. Okay. James Baldwin, 1956 novel is 1956? I thought it was 1946. No, it's 1956. James Baldwin's 1956 novel is a pioneering masterpiece. With open expressions of gay love and experience at a time where it was criminalized and scrutinized extensively will never not inspire me. David, an American man, is living in Paris, where he begins an affair with an Italian bartender named Giovanni. The story is David reminiscing about the events leading up to Giovanni's execution, whilst awaiting his lover Hella to return from Spain, whom it ultimately doesn't work out with. The overarching theme is that shame and self-rejection of homosexuality, especially in regard to society's stigma of it, leads to a death and tragedy of romance where no party comes out happy. James Baldwin was a gay black man at a time that was one of the worst times to be a gay black man. Black or gay. It wouldn't have been enough for James due to the still prevalent While rights and opportunities were advancing for African Americans during the Civil Rights Movement, it still wouldn't have been enough for James due to the still prevalent stigma towards homosexuality. In 1948, pre-Civil Rights, he moved to France, where he lived for the rest of his life. He determined that France was more liberal in its views, a country where there's less African Americans than the U.S. I mean, crazy. What else do I have to speak on? I said I was going to speak on The Living End by Greg Araki, but I didn't re-watch it. But I suppose I can still talk about what I remember. So we have this perfect... So we open with this, from what I remember. We open with this guy wearing super tight jeans. He's committed a crime. He's running. He finds these two lesbians in a car together. They're so sassy. And I'm like, okay, I can get with this. They're hilarious. It's like such funny characters. Introduced right away. So he hops in the car and they start fighting with him because they were going to take him away, help him escape, and start fighting with him. And he shoots them. In 4 minutes, we lose my favorite characters. And we cut to this other guy. I forget his name as well. Who's got his life together. And he's friends with this one lady. I forget her name also. Maybe I need to rewatch it. Next episode. I'll talk about it on the next episode. You know what? We'll go back to Caged Bird by Maya Angelou. A free bird leaps on the back of the wind and floats downstream until the current ends and dips his wing in the orange sun rays and dares to claim the sky. The lark is the free bird, free from race, class, and gender, free from societal pressures and trivial labor. It flies not to transport a load, but to be its truest self. I mean, that's beautiful. I mean, I think a lark is the perfect representation of a free bird. One actor saw the Song of the Lark and cried and said that, that gave him the will to live. I forget the name. I'll look it up. Bill Murray, because I saw this in person at the Art Institute of Chicago, and it's beautiful in person. I mean, it's a tiny painting, but it's gorgeous. Bill Murray said that it saved his life during a time of despair and hopelessness. Murray recounted that in his career, after a very bad stage performance in Chicago, he felt suicidal and began walking towards Lake Michigan with the intent to end his life. He ended up at the Art Institute, where he saw the painting of a young peasant woman in a field at sunrise. The image gave him a powerful feeling of hope and the realization that every day the sun comes up, a person gets another chance. I mean, that's beautiful. Just like, it's a beautiful painting. It's also Eleanor Roosevelt's favorite painting, so if that's worth anything. Okay, I think I'm gonna clip this. I don't know. Hi guys. So I can't post this. Yeah, okay. Hi guys, welcome back to the pod. Don't piss me off. Okay, I have my computer open here because I forgot what I wanted to talk about. So actually, what I've watched recently is this documentary film called The Examined Life, or Examined Life, by Astra Taylor. And it stars these influential philosophers: Cornel West, Evita Ronell, Peter Singer, Kwame Anthony Appiah, Martha Nussbaum, Michael Hart, Slavoj Žižek, Judith Butler, and Sonora Taylor. And it's amazing. So at the beginning, Cornel Hello? 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 I just realized that, that in my advertisement, my first advertisement for the podcast, I don't want to call this a podcast, really. I think it's just going to be me talking to a camera. Rather, like, there's not a theme. I'm sorry, there's not a theme. So, I don't know anything, so I don't have a lot to tell you, so I'm literally going to have to, like, just look stuff up and regurgitate it at you. But I did say I was going to, start it, medieval theme, as the jester. So, I'm going to put that hat on and be like, welcome to the pod! I'm back. Did y'all see that? The hell?